makeup look that I think will go perfectly with your little black dress, especially if you're in your 30s and you just want something that's very sexy and sophisticated. There are a million looks out there for black dresses. I think a lot of people think about winged liner and red lip when you're wearing a black dress, but there's so many other looks you can do. So I wanted to do something just a little bit different and just very classy and wearable. I'm gonna film this video in a bit of a different style than I normally do, so please let me know if you like it. And if you are new, I'm Karina. Welcome to my channel. I film wearable, classy, sophisticated, simple makeup looks for 30-something-year-old women. So if you like that kind of makeup style, then definitely check out my channel and subscribe. My goal is always to have super beautiful glowing skin, so to achieve that I'm just starting with my Flawless Filter by Charlotte Tilbury, just popping that kind of on my cheekbones and down the center of my face and buffing that in with a stippling brush. By the way, I'm going to link all of my products down below. I always do, so if I didn't mention a specific product, you can always check down there. I do find that layering this product under foundation just gives you that lit from within glow. Next, I'm just going in with my foundation. I only used 2 pumps to cover my entire face. I'm just looking for a sheer coverage, but just making sure it's all very well blended out. I like to just stipple it all over my face to get the product on there evenly, and then I'll go in and buff it with that stippling brush. And then I always like to lastly use a beauty blender just so that everything is nice and evenly buffed out. And now I'm just taking my MAC Studio Fix 24-Hour Smooth Wear Concealer. I've spoken about this concealer before. I like it because it's a very thin consistency, but it really does last for a really long time. And so I just am dotting that under my eyes and a few blemishes. I always like to use my fingers first when I'm blending my concealer in, and then I'll just take my sponge afterward and kind of buff it in so there's no edges around anything. I find my fingers just fit into my eye socket a little bit better. My eyes are really deep set, so getting the sponge in there isn't quite as easy. To start my contour, I'm using a cream product. This one's by Fenty Beauty. I find it easiest to just put it on the back of my hand first and pick it up with a brush. That way I'm not ending up with any like harsh lines on my face, and this just gives me a little bit more control. I like to start putting the product on starting at the top of my ear, but then I always try to take my brush and kind of do like an upward motion just so that everything is being pulled up and my product isn't falling too low. And I also just like to kind of get around my temple area just so that the contour on my forehead and cheek are both connected. So I'm just taking a powder compact to lightly powder under my eyes. First I just try to blend out the creasing, any creasing that could have happened, and then I'll powder on top, and then as well as the center of my face, center of my forehead, my blemishes, just anywhere where I don't really want shine or where I want my foundation or concealer to last longer. For my cheeks, I'm using the Jaclyn Hill Nude Light powder. This one just has a little bit of like a luminosity and glow to it, so I'm running this very lightly on my cheeks. It really keeps the glow on my skin without looking too shiny. Next, I'm just taking my Makeup Forever bronzer. This is an old product, but it's a really nice one. It also has a little bit of a glow to it. You can see it's kind of like a satin finish. And I'm just going to place that right over the contour, the cream contour that we already put down, just to make sure everything is really locked in and doesn't move. And since my neck was looking just a little bit pale, I take my bronzer and just kind of run it down my neck just to make sure everything looks really even. Next, to finish off my cheeks, I'm taking this MAC blush called Humor Me, and I love this blush because it just gives you a bit of like a flush, a bronzy cheek, but you can see it adds a little bit of warmth still, more than a bronzer would. It's just such a beautiful product for a neutral cheek. And then I always fill in my beauty mark to make everything look really natural, and then I'm just finishing off my face by spraying my favorite product, MAC Fix Plus, all over. Moving on to brows, I just keep things really simple. I'm brushing my brow hairs up to start and then just filling in any areas that I need with an eyebrow pencil. This one's by Anastasia Beverly Hills. And then I just try to buff that product out a little bit to make sure that it's not harsh. And then to set everything in place, I'm using the Brow Freeze by Anastasia, and it's a really good product and it really does keep your brow hairs in place all day long. As a base for my eyeshadow, I'm going to go in with my NARS Cream Shadow Stick. I always like to work off the back of my hand. I can really control how much product I'm placing on my eyelid that way. And I'm just kind of putting this all over and mapping out the shape that I want. So just kind of making sure that it's really blended up and out. I'm also taking that right underneath both of my eyes. Now I'm using this MAC Warm Neutrals palette. I got this a long time ago and unfortunately I think it's discontinued, but I've listed dupes down below so that you can just replace those MAC eyeshadows with eyeshadows from MAC that they actually have in stock right now. But this is just kind of like a medium toned brown shade. It is a satin, so it's not completely matte, and I'm mostly working that on the outer corner of my eye and up into my crease and kind of right up onto my brow bone as well, but just keeping everything on the outer portion. Next, I'm taking the deepest shade in the palette, and I'm just going to keep that really close to my lash line, again just on the very outer portion. So I just place that product down with a little bit of a smaller brush, and then I go back in with that same blending brush that I've been using to really kind of blend the product out. Especially when you're working with dark shades, just don't be afraid to keep blending until you can't see any harsh lines. This is just going to add a little bit more definition and a little bit more contrast to the look. Now I'm just topping off this whole look with this beautiful copper shade. It's the only warm shade that I'm using in this look, but I think it really ties everything together beautifully. So it just kind of gives me nice sheen on the center of my eye. I also put that on my lower lid right in the center of my eye, so just kind of right on the center of my upper and lower lid. And to further define my eye, I'm just lining with a brown eye pencil both top and the outer corner of the bottom lash, as well as tight lining the top and bottom. To finish the look, I'm just going to use this kind of naked neutral color in the inner corner of my eyes, and I'm bringing this a little bit more like higher up on the bridge of my nose, and I find that just brings and draws a little bit more light to my eye look. And then I always curl my lashes, and finally I will go in with some mascara. I've been using this L'Oreal Air Volume Mascara, which I find gives me a ton of volume. And for this look, I think I did 3 layers on the top and 2 on the bottom. So I really coated my lashes because I didn't put any falsies on. Lastly, we'll go in with one of my favorite lipsticks. This one is called Velvet Teddy by MAC, and it's just a nice pinky nude, has a little bit of brown to it, so it kind of is like a well-balanced nude colored, and it just goes really well with so many different skin tones. It's still neutral, but it gives you just the right amount of color. And then I'm just using my MAC lip pencil in the color Spice because it really matches that lipstick perfectly. And I am overlining a little bit in the center of my lips, both top and bottom. I always like to finish my look by topping up my blush because I find it fades, and once you get your lipstick on, you tend to feel a little bit more washed out. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. Please let me know if you liked this style of video, and I'll just keep making more.